Okay, we're doing physical characteristics of ecosystems. This is a TEK that you guys should have had in 3rd grade. So this is just a review. We are on page 99 of our journal, so make sure you are working on page 99. Don't forget to go to the bottom and draw your line across so that you can add your summary later. Yes, there will be a summary. All right, I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit and we're gonna get started. Hopefully this is enough zoom for you guys. First thing we need to know is, what is an ecosystem? Let's get that written. I'm gonna start at this top line today. And it is a question, so we'll add our question mark. What is an ecosystem? It is the biotic and abiotic factors or things coexisting, trying not to go over that line, coexisting in one space. So, for example, let's take a forest. I'm going to switch pins real quick. In a forest, you can have a lot of different animals. And I'm going to use my green pin for this one. If you want to switch between your colors because it makes more sense to you that way, that's fine. It makes more sense to me this way if I can separate them, and this is the only way I can think to do that on this paper. So, actually I'm going to take my purple for a second. Let's say you have a bunch of deer, and for deer we're going to use rectangles today. Ooh, I'm sorry, that's horrible writing. Deer, there we go. That group of deer is one population. You might also have a group of fox. That is one population. Let's say you have some trees. They can be hearts. Those trees are one population. You can have many populations in one ecosystem. If you have many, they are then called a community. Excuse me. A community exists of only biotic factors. Let me zoom in on that in case some of you can't see. After our community, you guys know we don't just have biotic or living things, we also have abiotic factors. So abiotic is all the soil, all the rocks, water, and air in that ecosystem. All of those things put together are going to make up your ecosystem. In other words, an ecosystem is just everything needed to make this area run smoothly. Some words we just talked about, I'm going to go over with you. I'm going to write them below, I guess. One is biotic. You need to know that that means anything living. We did go over this in 4th grade, but once again, this is a review. And then abiotic are all the non-living things in the ecosystem. Let's go on ahead and answer another question. What is a physical characteristic of an ecosystem? Go ahead and scoot the page over as you can see. And once again, it's a question, so I'm using a question mark. So we're going to define physical characteristics for an ecosystem, and it's going to be long. Make sure you pause the video so that you have time to write. This is at your own pace. So I'm just going to write the word physical characteristic because we know what we're talking about. In this case, a physical characteristic is going to be natural features. So nothing that people can make. Of Earth's surface. Natural features of Earth's surface. Oops, capitalize Earth. Such as landforms, water sources, the different climates we have, soil, and plants. For now, we are not including animals in this. Basically, a physical characteristic of an ecosystem is anything that meets the needs of the organisms living there. So it has to meet needs. Meet needs of organisms living in ecosystem. I want to make sure you know that when we say organism, we are talking about an individual plant or animal, a single thing. So the last thing I want to do with you guys is look at things that are actually in an ecosystem. I'll give ourselves a quick heading. What is in the ecosystem? I'm going to break out my red that I wrote over earlier. We're going to do two different examples. So I'm going to zoom you guys back out so you can see the chart that I'm making. Going all the way to the red line on the right side. and just cutting it in half. Okay, so our first chart. Ran into a little bar there. Our first chart, we're going to do, let's do aquatic life. Aquatic or underwater ecosystems. Some of the physical characteristics of an aquatic ecosystem. Of course, you're going to have water. It's underwater. You might have coral, seaweed. Depending on the temperature of the place that the water is in, it could be cold or warm. You could have deep trenches. You might even have caves. Of course, this is not everything, and it's not going to be in every single aquatic ecosystem, but it's just an example. And then our last example is going to be a desert ecosystem. Most of you know in a desert there's going to be some sand, rocks, cacti. You have some small bushes. It can be very dry there, and it can be very hot. All right, last thing you've got to do is write your summary. So I need you guys to tell me in your summary, what are the physical characteristics of a forest and ecosystem. Remember, you don't have to write the question, but you do have to answer it. Again, it only has to be 1 to 3 sentences. When you're done, we're going to write the code word. Let's do Blanca's favorite animal. So it'll be panda. And once you write your code word, come show it to me. If you're supposed to have it glued into your journal, glue it into your journal. There's no reason for all these papers to be falling out of journals. Because, guys, you don't put your names on them. I don't know whose they are, so they just go in the trash. All right, when you're done, come show me.